Arachnophobia. Arachnophobia, the classic fear of eight-legged critters, sends shivers down the spine of many. From itsy-bitsy spiders to the giant tarantulas of the Amazon, the mere thought of these arachnids can turn even the bravest souls into trembling wrecks. Whether it's their sneaky movements or the fear of a surprise spider descent, arachnophobia keeps us on our toes, quite literally. Acrophobia. For those with acrophobia, reaching for the stars is more of a nightmare than a dream. High places become instant no-go zones as the fear of falling takes hold. Whether it's the dizzying heights of skyscrapers or the precarious edge of a cliff, acrophobia ensures that the ground remains the safest place to be. Ophidiophobia. Ophidiophobia, the fear of snakes. Even the mention of these slithering creatures is enough to make some folks break out in a cold sweat. Whether it's their sinuous movements, flickering tongues, or the possibility of venomous fangs, Ophidiophobia keeps us firmly on the lookout for any sign of a serpentine encounter. Claustrophobia. Welcome to the world of claustrophobia, where even the coziest spaces turn into claustrophobic nightmares. From packed elevators to cramped closets, the fear of being trapped in tight quarters sends chills down the spine. With each confined space feeling like a suffocating coffin, claustrophobia teaches us the true value of breathing room. Trypophobia. Trypophobia, where innocent holy objects become the stuff of nightmares. Whether it's the sight of a lotus seed pod or a honeycomb, trypophobes can't help but feel a shiver of revulsion. With each cluster of tiny holes, trypophobia reminds us that sometimes it's the little things that can send the biggest shivers down our spines. Aerophobia. For those with aerophobia, the friendly skies are anything but friendly. Whether it's the fear of turbulence or the dread of being trapped in a metal tube thousands of feet in the air, aerophobia keeps us grounded. With each flight feeling like a roller coaster ride through hell, aerophobia teaches us the true meaning of staying grounded. Agoraphobia. Agoraphobia, the fear of wide open spaces. From bustling city streets to vast open fields, agoraphobia turns every outdoor excursion into a heart-pounding adventure. With each step feeling like a journey into the great unknown, agoraphobia reminds us that sometimes the safest place to be is right at home. Social phobia, social anxiety disorder. The world of social phobia, where every social interaction feels like a high-stakes performance. Whether it's the fear of embarrassing oneself or the dread of being judged by others, social phobia turns even the most mundane gatherings into nerve-wracking ordeals. With each awkward silence and nervous glance, social phobia teaches us a true meaning of stage fright. Astraphobia. Astraphobia, the fear of thunder and lightning, turns every storm into a battle against the elements. Whether it's the deafening roar of thunder or the blinding flash of lightning, astraphobia keeps us huddled indoors, seeking shelter from nature's fury. With each crack of thunder and flash of lightning, astraphobia reminds us that sometimes it's best to weather the storm from the safety of home. Mysophobia. People with mysophobia, the fear of germs and dirt, turns every surface into a potential hazard zone. Whether it's the fear of contracting a deadly disease or the dread of contamination, mysophobia keeps us scrubbing and sanitizing with a vengeance. With each encounter with an unsanitary surface, mysophobia teaches us the true value of hand sanitizer and disinfectant wipes. Hemophobia. Hemophobia, the fear of blood, turns every scrape and scratch into a blood-curdling nightmare. Whether it's the sight of blood or the thought of injury, hemophobia keeps us faint-hearted and queasy. With each drop of blood and smear of gore, hemophobia reminds us that sometimes it's best to leave the bandages to the professionals. Thanatophobia. Thanatophobia, the fear of death, turns every existential crisis into a battle against mortality. Whether it's the fear of the great beyond or the dread of the unknown, thanatophobia keeps us awake at night, pondering the meaning of life. With each passing moment and fleeting breath, thanatophobia teaches us the true value of seizing the day. Glassophobia. Glassophobia, the fear of public speaking, turns every presentation into a heart-pounding spectacle. Whether it's the fear of embarrassing oneself or the dread of being judged by others, glossophobia keeps us tongue-tied and stage-struck. With each stutter and stumble, glossophobia teaches us the true meaning of stage fright. Emetophobia. Emetophobia, the fear of vomiting, turns every stomachache into a gut-wrenching nightmare. Whether it's the fear of getting sick or the dread of losing control, emetophobia keeps us glued to the porcelain throne. With each rumble of the stomach and wave of nausea, emetophobia reminds us that sometimes it's best to stick to bland foods and ginger ale. Arachibutyrophobia. Arachibutyrophobia, the fear of peanut butter sticking to the roof of the mouth, turns every PB&J into a sticky situation. Whether it's the fear of choking or the dread of being unable to swallow, Arachibutyrophobia keeps us reaching for the milk. with each sticky glob of peanut butter and futile attempt to dislodge it. Arachibutyrophobia teaches us the true value of crunchy over creamy.